All right, and we are live. Want to welcome everybody into Welcome to Angel to Podcast. I'll give it a minute for people to come in here. But as you get in here, make sure you share and share this information with somebody. We got a really good show for you guys tonight. But before we get into that, I want to encourage everybody to register to vote. Don't wait for a politician to come and tell you what to do with your rights to vote. So get active now. You can go over and vote. You have to be registered 30 days prior to any election that you want to participate in here in South Carolina. So, if you're over the age of 18 or 18 or older and you are registered with Selective Service, hey, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. All right, let me make sure I am coming across clear here. See what we got here. So yeah, Mayor, how are you, sir? How's it been in the town of Andrews this week?
It's been busy so far. It seems like I know we're in the Tuesday, but it seems like Thursday with the amount of work that we have in front of us. And but working hard to get it done. And we have several projects ongoing in the town. I talked about this last week. Probably to the tune of about $7 million worth of infrastructure construction going on. And right now, they're primarily focused on replacing several of the about 70 manholes that's just beyond repair, and so those have to be moved out, and some other things going on. But tonight we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to bring in some folks to talk a little bit about this South Carolina Brownsfield program, and really what that's about is a program is designated to facilitate the redevelopment of contaminated properties and by promoting economic growth while protecting the human health and the environment. So they'll talk a little bit about that and how they can assist. As you know, here in Andrews, I think anywhere you go, and whether it's an old town or big or fairly new, you're going to have some properties that is just beyond repair and has been sitting around for a long time and may have contaminants around it. So this program is set for that. They're doing a study. I'm very fortunate to be on the steering committee, but the ladies you'll hear from tonight will give us some in-depth information on how property owners become involved in this and what the benefits of this program. And so you and I are late nighters, so we want to bring them on now. We know it's 8:30, a little bit past that. We want to bring them on now so they can talk about, give us some information so we can get folks to participate. So we'd like to welcome Miss Maureen Mulligan and Miss Peyton Smith to the program tonight to talk to us a little bit about the work that you're doing that is so important for Georgetown County. And of course, I'll be biased. We certainly need to help here in Andrews. So I'll pause here for a brief introduction of both you young ladies, and then we'll get into the subject.
Maureen,
go ahead. Whomever want to lead us. You're on mute, Miss Maureen.
Okay, Maureen, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I work for Georgetown County. I am the Georgetown County environmentalist, and we applied for the assessment grant, brownfields grant through the EPA. This is a federal grant, and we were awarded $500,000 to start assessing properties in Georgetown County in certain census tracts of Georgetown County.
And my name is Peyton Smith. I am an environmental engineer with Terracon Consultants. Terracon is the consultant that Georgetown County has brought on to help facilitate this grant throughout Georgetown County. So I am the man on the floor, getting my boots dirty, going out and visiting some of the sites throughout Georgetown County, specifically a couple in Andrews. These sites might be hindered for potential redevelopment because of potential contamination, historical contamination, or fears of contamination. That could be anything from an older structure to a pretty heavily polluted site from an old industry. So very excited to talk to y'all tonight a little bit more maybe on the technical side of things.
Okay, so if you will, tell us a little bit more about the program and how do we get property owners interested in this and some of the work you've done up to this point. Okay.
Absolutely. Maureen, please, I would love for you to give a little bit of background on how Georgetown County won this award and how big of a deal it is.
Yeah, it is a really big deal. This is a bipartisan program. Both parties really like the brownfields program because it goes into areas that may have abandoned buildings and are in desperate need of revitalization. And this is the grant that we won is the first step in that process. So the first step for the brownfields program is you have to assess the properties. And how we're going about finding out properties is we want community input. We have brought together a steering committee, and we're wanting to get community input. So if you have a site that may be you think might be a good candidate, we actually have a link on the Georgetown County website. That's georgetowncounty.org, and you can go to brownfields and you can submit an application right online, and then we'll look into whatever is recommended to us and see if it qualifies, because there are certain requirements in order for the property to be a part of this program.
So this program is very much focused around highlighting properties that might not be great candidates to potential commercial property owners or purchasers. These are the properties that look like they might be a good bit of a headache for someone to buy and want to redevelop because they could potentially find that environmental contamination. And that's where this $500,000 of funding comes in. This is funding that we will offer to a property owner or any property free of their charge, where we will come in and assess the property and do all the necessary assessment needed up front to be able to hand the property and show the property to a potential buyer and say, this is what there's not at the site, or there could be some contamination over in this site. But this grant is intended to take away some of the uncertainty or the concerns behind investing in a potentially contaminated property by covering some of those upfront costs that would usually be something to scare away a potential buyer. So that's really the main goal of this grant, is to go after some of those properties that have been forgotten over time.
Now I understand $500,000 is not a ton of money, and I think as we look across the county, and I'll focus here on Andrews. I know we have quite a bit of properties that could potentially qualify. So, what is the selection process, and how do we prioritize who's chosen for this program?
Yes. So within this grant, we perform what we call a site inventory process, which is what I'm actively working through right now with Georgetown. And this is where we dive into the history behind sites throughout the area. I look at a ton of old maps to try to locate potential sources of contamination going back 100, 120 years ago. I look at active sites that have been listed on environmental databases for potential environmental concerns. I also drive through the entire area and write down and select any sort of site that looks like it would potentially be a good candidate. Now, all of this goes into a very lengthy and long list, which is when we turn to our steering committee, which is a formed group with Mayor Mcclary. We're happy to have you in that committee as well. But that committee is intended to help us make some of these site selection decisions. So because this grant is facilitated and run by Georgetown County, at the end of the day, they have the ability to decide what sites should and should not be included in the grant at all times. But in the case where we're looking for new sites and trying to chase new sites, that's where our steering committee can really come in and help us with that selection. So they helped us generate a Georgetown County specific ranking of what really you want these sites to look like. That could be focusing your sites on environmental health. How is this impacting our communities? It could be focusing on water resources. Could this site potentially be contaminating local water bodies? It could be leveraging government projects. Will this site help push forward to new parks, new government buildings? So Georgetown County specifically, and the steering committee that was formed and generated for this grant has helped us come up with this ranking, which I'm then applying to all of the different sites that I have located in this list. And that helps us come up with a ranked list of sites that we can then go through and decide which sites would be good for redevelopment. As always, we are actively working on a couple of sites right now that Georgetown County has selected. We are always hoping to begin assessments on more sites in the area, specifically based off of that site inventory list. But that is a list that's constantly changing, constantly being impacted and adjusted. So as site suggestions come in, that's something that I add to the list, and then we can go back to our steering committee to help us move forward with decision making. Within this grant, we have a $200,000 limit that we can apply to one site. So I have worked in multiple different grant programs before where a community has decided to focus almost all of their funding allocations on 2 or 3 very large sites. And then I've had other communities where they've wanted to focus on multiple smaller sites and spread that money out. So that's where we come in to see really it gets down to what sites really have the most opportunity for redevelopment, and leaning on our steering committee and leaning on Georgetown County to decide really what kind of funding we're wanting to allocate to different sites. Because as you were saying, Mayor Mcclary, there are dozens of potential candidates in this area. But I think it's good to note that, as Maureen was saying earlier, this is one of multiple different phases of grants that we can apply for in this area. This is grant one of we can apply for cleanup grants up to $4 million for a singular site. We can apply for assessment grant after assessment grant. So we have the opportunity to form not only an assessment grant here, but an assessment program, which is the goal for Georgetown.
Super. Ms. Mulligan, you want to add anything to that?
She pretty much covered it. I think it's a really exciting program, and it opens up a lot of doors for future additional grant funds, like Peyton said, and those are multiple $1-million grants for cleanup and planning and such.
Now, I've heard a lot about, and we talked about this during the steering committee, but I'd like to bring this up. What is the owner's role in this? I mean, we may go out and select these properties based on the expertise that we have here and then some of the desires of the leaders in these communities. But what is the owner's role? Do they have to participate in this? And if not, how do we persuade them?
This is a completely voluntary program, and it's something we would like to be very upfront with any site owners at the very beginning, that this grant is not intended to punish any site owner. This is intended to locate and help push up those sites that really don't have the funding or the means to be redeveloped. So majority of the time, the site owners that we are looking to speak with are owning properties that most likely are not going to be redeveloped. So coming in with the open mind of this is a grant that's intended to help you, in no way is it going to harm you. EPA does not like to punish property owners that voluntarily participate in a grant like this. So this is an incredible way for a property owner, especially if they're interested in selling their property, to get all of the upfront costs covered, so they don't have to fish that out of their own pocket. This is a way that we can show, look, you thought your site was contaminated. We went out there and we did a ton of assessments, and guess what? We didn't find any contamination. You can up the price of this property. This is a wonderful property for redevelopment. Or we can hand them a piece of paper saying, look, this is exactly what the contamination looks like. It's to this level or that level. Maybe you don't want to put certain types of structures out here, but this site could absolutely be reused for A, B, or C. So there's a million different things that this grant can offer a property owner. But the number one thing I'll always say is it's free money. Free money that we want to try to give away. So I don't know what a better way is to convince someone other than that.
Typically, when the government show up and says it's free and we're here to help, you don't get a whole lot of participation. So again, what's been the participation from or the willingness of these owners to get involved?
I think actually overall they've been really, really open and happy to be a part of it. At least that's been what I've experienced. This is the first grant I'm working on, brownfields assessment grant. Peyton has more experience with that.
Yep. I personally have not had any problems with getting ownership approval for a site. Like I said, usually we're not going after sites where it could be easy to sell. In most cases, the owner is looking for a way to help with this site. They either don't want to deal with the burden themselves or they don't know what to do with it. So we can come in and offer our expertise and our help to really focus on a property. Like Maureen was saying earlier, also, this opens up a ton of doors. I've been working on a school, a very old school in a local community, probably a good 30 minutes away from the Andrews area. And the community has been very gathered around redeveloping this school for community use. And we just applied for a $4 million grant to clean up that school. That is something that they were more than happy to participate in. It has really no impact on them, negative impact, I mean. But specifically in Georgetown, we have not had any issues with property owners, and we really have more properties that we know what to do with. It's the process of selecting them. So I'd say Georgetown's an incredible area for this grant to be applied to. And once again, with the property owners, that's something that it's completely voluntary for them, but we have property owners coming to us wanting to participate, so haven't had too much of an issue on that front.
Excellent. So then if you have the corporation and the willingness from the property owners, what is the community's role in this? Because I heard you said we're looking for community input. So how do they affect this program?
This program is something that we'd like to continue on in Georgetown. And one of the best ways to do that is to show EPA that it really is having an impact on a community. That's a very large part of this grant. So if we want to push forward with redevelopment of potential contaminated sites, we want to have an idea of what the community is looking for that site. A lot of properties are publicly owned properties that would be within a local government's control of what they wanted to reuse that site for. And I think it's very important to lean on your community. This grant is intended for community use. This grant is focused on revitalizing communities. So it's vital for us to have community input and keep them updated on the progress of this grant.
And that's actually why we wanted to apply for this grant, or for me anyway, when I was reading about it, they require community input, and we aren't supposed to be going in and telling people what they want from a place. We want to hear what people want in Andrews. Like, once we do some of these assessments, what would you like to see in the future?
Now, how are you gathering that information? Because when we apply for grants to CDBG or RIA, and like now we're having to go out and have surveys completed. Folks are a little reluctant to put their personal information in a survey. So what is required through your outreach? How much information is there standard, or is just someone's signing a petition of some sort? What is that method?
There's no true method that we follow. This is very much more of an open grant for people to come in and suggest sites or to talk more about what sites they'd like to see. We specifically like to get involved in local councils. We like to show up at different meetings. We like to go to as many events as we can to present the grant to the people and allow them the chance to learn more about it. And offer site input and suggestions. So we're not asking specifically for any petitions, or we're not asking for specific ideas. That's really where we lean on our steering committee to help us come up with those more centralized options. But specifically with the community input, we really just want to focus on keeping them updated on the status of what we're doing, and continuing to get their input on potential sites to assess and what they would like to see in their community in the future.
Okay, so now you've selected some or have a list. Can any of that be discussed tonight in terms of any of those properties identified and where you are with the next step?
I'm happy to discuss some of the active sites we're working on.
Okay.
we'll go ahead and not share any sites that we have not gotten specific owner approval to access that site, just for confidentiality reasons. But we are working on 4 different active sites right now, 3 of those being in Andrews, which is the big reason why we are wanting to talk with y'all tonight. So one of those is 470 West Alders Street, which is right next to the Recreation Center. This was the old Andrews High School. We performed a phase 1 environmental site assessment out there for Georgetown County on the school out there to get a good idea of potential environmental concerns for reuse of that property one day. That phase 1 has been completed, and we are in the process of hearing from EPA on their eligibility. This grant is quite particular on what sites are eligible. Depends a lot on ownership status. It depends a lot on types of contamination and when they were occurred and who owned the property when they could have occurred. So this site is going through an eligibility approval right now from EPA, and I'm hoping to hear back from them soon on next steps on that site. But we've got multiple other sites happening for us right now as well. 615 Jones Avenue, which is the former Rosemary School. We're also working on that school as well. That community, that organization has been wonderful to work with, and we hope to continue with assessment for them for potential reuse of some of the structures on their site.
That's a good example of they approached us.
What are some of the contamination? What are some of the contamination concerns? Like, so when you come in, what are you guys looking for?
Yes, that's where it gets a little bit more, and please forgive me if I talk too fast. I'm an engineer now, and I think engineers, so I will try to speak in normal person language. But when I go out to a site, I'm looking specifically for petroleum products and hazardous materials. So specifically with any building that's really older than 30 or 40 years old, I'm going to specifically be looking for asbestos, lead paint. We have found mercury in flooring before, so if I'm looking for old flooring as potentials for that. Old structures, old schools, they can have specific contamination in old lights on their roof that would not have been dangerous at the time, but if they were to be broken or shattered, that could be a concern. Old thermostats have mercury in them as well. So those are some building materials that could potentially be hazardous and might not be impacting anyone negatively right now, but that would be something you would have to approach should you want to redo a building or demolish a building. Before you can demolish a building, an asbestos survey has to be performed, and it has to be properly dealt with before you can demolish any structure. So there's quite a few of historic or old structures in the area that people might want to knock down and reuse, and before they can do that, an asbestos survey needs to be completed, and that's something that this grant could cover potentially. So that's the first half, is hazardous materials. Please go ahead.
No, I was going to make it clear for our listeners. There at the old Andrews High School, I think you're referring to the old welding facility. I'm assuming that's at it. All of those standing buildings, they're just south of the new rec. So that's the old welding. I think we had carpentry building. Carpentry and all that stuff was going in. And most recent use of it was the ambulance. It housed the Georgetown County ambulance service there. Mm-hmm. So that's just so we have some clarity, because some folks, they, especially the younger kids, they're not familiar with that part of that large property that the county owns. And then there's, of course, Rosemary. So that's now the Jerusalem Association.
Yes. Missionary Baptist and Education Association.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we all went to school at those places. So it's still memories being crumbled. And so if any of that can be preserved and, repurposed, would be great for historical purposes. But yeah, so those are the 2 in Andrews. And I know there's one more, but I'm not sure. Can't recall which one it is.
So we are doing a assessment right now on the former Oneida Textile Mill, which we're going to call 55 Conifer Street. we did get ownership approval to access that site and begin assessments. We are in the very beginning of assessments there, so I really don't have too much of an update to provide on that site, but it is an active site in our grant right now, and there should be more information to find on that site in the near future on the website, which is attached in the, well, we can attach it in a chat if needed. Yes, so those are the 3 sites we're working on.
Is a part of this testing soil? Do you test soil samples?
Yes, we can do that. So we've got 2 different phases of baseline assessments that we'll perform on any site. So when we're going to a brand new site and we don't know anything out there, we'll perform a phase 1 environmental site assessment. And this is what I like to call a background check. This is a completely non-invasive assessment. So we're not taking any soil samples. We're not drilling any holes. We're not taking anything from the structure. This is purely visual inspection. We do a deep dive through any historical documents we can find. We'll interview as many people surrounding that property as possible, gather any information we can on that property to try to piece together potential concerns at that site. So depending on the results of our phase 1 environmental site assessment, if we locate what we call in engineering a recognized environmental condition, which is potential contamination or contamination at a site, we will most likely pursue what we call a phase 2 environmental site assessment. This is where I'd suppose you would call it an invasive assessment, which sounds a lot worse than it is. It would really just mean that's when we would start taking soil samples. We might put some wells on the site to take groundwater samples. You might see these at some gas stations. Most gas stations will have groundwater wells. So we'll do soil samples or groundwater samples. We can do vapor samples to test for contamination in structures. There's multiple different samples we can take. We could take asbestos samples, paint samples, really anything we want to get an idea of, is there any contamination at the site? So in Georgetown right now, Georgetown County, we've got the 4 active sites, the 3 that I just discussed in Andrews, and then we were also working on the former Maryville landfill, which is the capped waste pit, which is down near the airport. Now we are pushing to begin phase 2 assessments at this site relatively soon, but we are still in the first year of a 4-year grant cycle here. So we are still very much performing phase 1s on our sites, and the hope is to begin completing more and more phase 2s in the next year to help us get some real answers for these sites and to start doing some redevelopment planning.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is the timeline that associated? I know it's hard to put fix a time to it, but again, as you said, you're moving pretty well through phase 1. So what does your timeline look like, and then when you apply for the grants for the next phase?
Yes, so grant applications close around every November of every year. Usually an assessment grant would be a 4-year process. It has been done in many communities in the past in 3 years. If we're able to do a lot of assessment on a lot of our sites in a good timeline in the next 2-3 years, we have the ability to apply for as many grants in the future as we would like. If we do enough assessment on a site within this grant that we would like to apply for a cleanup grant, like I was saying earlier, could be up to $4 million for one property. That is something that we can apply for every November. So we might locate a site that would be a good candidate for that and apply for it this November or next November, and also apply for another assessment grant to continue this. That's the really beautiful thing about these grants, is can be a continuous cycle. And as we keep saying, we really want to establish that brownfields program in the area of continuous assessment throughout the area. So you were saying earlier, $500,000 it's a decent amount of money, but when you start allocating it across multiple sites, it'll go fast. So that's something where we can get ahead of it and continuously apply for more and more grants, so we can have a constant cycle of funding coming in to assess some of these properties that have been forgotten.
Alexis, I know right now at the national level, obviously there's a lot of programs being adjusted funds being shifted different places. Is this program at risk, or do you feel confident that it's going to be here for a while?
Yeah, a lot of that is not something that I could say or make a good estimation on. What I will say is that brownfields are incredibly valuable. It's a great program that tends to be a favorite no matter what types of changes are happening. Brownfields have always been a program within the EPA for at least the past 10 years or so. So I have no doubt that this program will continue on. If it's going to change at all, if funding is going to change, I can't say for certain, but it has always existed in the past, no matter the changes. So I'm very confident that the program will continue, but if it's going to look 100% the same, I'm not certain on that. But I'm very confident it will continue to flourish. And if this grant cycle is successful in Georgetown, and if we are showing EPA that our community is engaged and that we're performing these assessments, communities that have had successful grants in the past are much more likely to be awarded second grants than new communities. So I'm very confident this grant could continue to flourish in Georgetown for a long time if we continue doing the right things and showing that we're doing that.
And how do you define success?
Yep, it's a very subjective matter. You're absolutely right. I think success is staying on path with what we wanted to achieve in this grant. And that's being really 50% of this grant. We really want to push towards that community input, having an active steering committee meeting, showing that we're engaging with the community and that we're really pushing to assess sites that they find interesting and to try to focus our assessments towards potential redevelopment for the area. And to continue working on larger sites or multiple sites in the area and showing that that type of assessment is occurring to a high level. So I think Georgetown right now is on a very good track. There are many sites in the area that I think would be great candidates for assessment in the future for future grants. And I think that they could make a very strong case in future grant cycles to continue getting assessments. But of course, that is completely up to EPA at the end of the day and what they're looking for in their grants.
Yeah, and that was really the basis for that question is to kind of highlight or put some emphasis on the role of the community and their involvement. And so you and I, or we can think it's a great idea and do all the work, but if we don't have the community and their voice across the community, across the county, then it will potentially have, slow things down, or monies will go somewhere else if the community is not involved. So we really need to do that.
Many other programs.
Absolutely. So we really need to have everyone's input. I know you all will be out as you are right now. You're using multiple platforms to communicate and share this information. And I know we've invited you out to some of the events that are going to, that are happening in and around the town of Andrews. Some information was shared today on the autism walk that's going to happen here, I think, in a couple of weeks. And that'll be a great event for you to come to. And we'll continue to do that.
12th.
On the 12th? Okay.
Yes.
And we need everyone to participate. This is great. This is a great program. This is money that property owners can potentially save as they assess and see what's going on and prepare yourself for redevelopment, and then cut some of the costs by leveraging this program. And so it's a win-win for all of us, for the community. So we really, really encourage you all to go to the site, and all of that. I think that will lead them to all of the contacts to provide their input. And let's make this thing happen. Let's support the hard work that's going on with these ladies and everyone associated with it. Because you saw the names. I think you brought the steering committee up there, but there's so much more going on behind the scene that we don't see, and we don't want that to go to waste. So we encourage involvement throughout the county, because the need is high, and if these funds are not, taken advantage of here, they may end up going somewhere else.
And I think it's key to stress the fact that the EPA is not here to punish property owners. And my question would be, do you have, and this is that steering committee right here, do you have public outreach meetings planned, like for people to come in and put the public input, put their input in, the public to put their input in?
We have hosted multiple meetings in the past. We're really pushing to get more involved in local county councils. We'll be at the Georgetown County Council next week presenting, and that's something that can be shared out for the community. We're hoping to get more involved in local festivals, farmers markets, local events, town councils, anything that we can get the name out. We'll be starting to attend the Jerusalem Missionary Baptist and Education Association events. We can continue hosting our private events as well. We're doing quite a bit to try to promote this grant throughout the area. But of course, any future
and so people
events will be on that website.
Listen to her. You hear what I can hear it in her voice. She's like, she don't want to say it, so I'm gonna say it for you. Get involved, okay? Get involved. And listen, any information you guys have, you are always welcome to come back on here anytime. You send me the information, you know what I mean, and we'll constantly push this. But this is the heavy lifting part in Georgetown County, is that these programs come and then we just kind of sit on our hands. We can't do this. This is big. I mean, I was thinking about, the fact that you're out at the Georgetown County Recreation Department in Andrews, where they tore down the gym recently, and I got all kind of questions. Like, that's why I asked about the soil testing. You know what I mean? Because that building supposedly had, and then you said, what you guys would do is do like a forensic audit and go back and see what the deal was. Well, yeah, so this is a big part of infrastructure rebuilding, and because these old towns are, I was just out here and out near Hampton County out there, same things as in Andrews, dying old infrastructures that need a boost, and I think this is the way. This is one of the ways, I should say.
And I suggest too, I didn't hear in all of the events and venues that you mentioned, how are we leveraging our young students, our young seniors, and getting them involved in this thing? So I think we have a lot of bright minds throughout this county here, and getting them involved in promoting this thing would probably be a big boost to the education part of it. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's an absolutely wonderful idea, and I will get with our outreach team on potential opportunities to engage with them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good idea too.
Absolutely, yeah, and they're our future, obviously, and they have a lot of bright ideas. And I think sometimes we don't listen to their concerns, their opinions, and their thoughts, and so. Let's get them in there, and as best we can, and I think you will see this thing grow. So I really appreciate anything else we need to add or share with the public. I know I'm going to hold you up too late. I know you have a long day tomorrow.
Peyton would probably be the one. Is there anything we forgot? I would just direct you to the website.
There you go.
Yeah,
Georgetown County. This is Georgetown County website. You could just go to Georgetown County website. Just pull up the county's website, and you can find this on there. Let me see what tab this is under. This is under.
You can Google Georgetown County Brownfield Assessment Grant, and this will pop up every time.
There you go. And of course, I'm going to share a link out. I'm going to share a link out on my page. I'm gonna put a link in the chat here, so anybody that's coming to this video later, it'll be there for you. But
you can find more information on all the sites we're working on this platform. We'll keep good updates on our progress on the 4 active sites, and any potential sites will also be listed on the site, as well as any upcoming engagement opportunities. Really appreciate you all listening to us tonight.
Yeah, and Mr. Jamal, again, we appreciate him, allowing us to come on and talk about the things that's important to the community. This guy has the ability to take this product, turn it into something that is, digestible to a lot of folks who don't have time, but capture the essence of this and then begin and continue to populate the community on the importance of this thing. So yeah, as he said, we're here, and we love to follow up on the progress here, at the appropriate time to keep folks on. And if we need to be a boost, if things start to get a little, slow,
stagnant,
yeah,
just
we're here.
come on back on over here, and we'll.
We have some exciting podcasts over here. So we like to make sure that what we're sharing, as we always do, that is things that is helpful for the community, and this certainly is. This is a part of the revitalization effort.
We really appreciate you inviting us on here. I think it's great. It's a great program. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate you. So other than that, guys, make sure you go to the website. There's a link in the description right now. I'll be putting it on my Facebook page here in a little bit. But property owners, commercial property owners, this is an opportunity, because what I'm hearing is you may be stuck in that property. You may not be able to you may not have the resources to take that property to the next level. And here is a exit plan for you. Okay. They're going to cover the upfront costs, and you just get to come in and take on, the added value. You get to take advantage of all of that. I mean, you're a citizen of the United States. You pay taxes here. This is what this money is put back in the community for. So let's take advantage of it, before they take it someplace else.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, and I'll see you soon. I'll have to check my email and see when our next meeting. But look forward to seeing you all soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, my bad. My bad. I'll make Maureen a part of the crew.
See, fire me, got Miss Maureen to be the co-host. Huh? But it's good. Hey, appreciate it again. I know you're out coaching and doing all that great stuff. How the ladies do tonight?
Man, let me tell you, the 9-2, we smoked them over there in Bamberg, and I tell you what, their facilities sucked in Bamberg. Had my girls playing in mud. I'm talking about in mud. Like, nobody dragged the field beforehand. Well, my girls handled it. They went in there. The bats came alive, and we didn't even have a referee. We had umpire. Somebody's granddad came out, and it was, but yeah.
Awesome, man. That's good. You enjoy it.
You think those girls aren't competitive. Oh, man, I'm loving it, man. I'm the black Bobby Cox out there, man. I mean, at first, me looking so serious. You know what I mean? Listen, I went and got me some baseball shades that I can flip up. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, you got the flips.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, you into it.
Yeah, I got the flips, baby. I got MLB flips. But nah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, he went. She grounded out and walked today, but yeah, pretty. I'm impressed with all that work that we're putting in with those girls. The discipline at the plate. Like they not gonna be all over swinging up here and swinging down. Nah, they stand in there, take that walk there, because they know once we get the coach pitch, it's on. Because I'm putting it right there.
That's awesome. Hey, before we wrap up, again, just to remind citizens here in Andrews of the construction that's ongoing. It's going to increase, and you'll have quite a few roads blocked. You're going to have to go around, and so we're just waiting right now on the DOT permit to begin the construction on Morgan Avenue, and that stretch will cover from Little Caesars Pizza all the way down to Alder, and Alder is a block south of the old TD Bank, the new Citizens Bank. So that's and again, I don't have the details and how they're going to phase it out, but just plan for that entire stretch to be impassable for a period of time. And in about May time frame, you'll have the same thing going on with Magnolia, which is a street over. So Morgan and Magnolia up there near Advance, but that's only going to cover a block. And again, that's replacing the old water and sewer lines, manholes, and then resurfacing those roads will be freshly resurfaced roads. So a lot happening in that area. And at the same time, they'll continue to do other things like installing valves, which we can isolate a problem if we have an issue. And then, of course, the water, the meter reading systems are being modernized and that kind of business. So constant reminder, you'll see things coming out through the Times, the paper, on the town's Facebook page and others to remind you of that. And we just ask you to be mindful of the workers that are out there. And this is all contract work in addition to our daily operation that's going with our own maintenance team. So a lot happening in town in terms of that. And if you get an opportunity to go down on County Line Road, you'll see those guys have completely cleared that area where Tractor Supply is gone. So that's moving pretty quick.
I'm sorry. Also, I wanted to acknowledge the fact, and I want to give it up to the citizens and yourself for being persistent and consistent, putting in the work to get that traffic light up right there at Ebenezer, at the corner of Ebenezer and Martin Luther King, County Line and Martin Luther King. I just want to give the people, I acknowledge that it took a lot of work, but I just want to acknowledge the folks that it is, that's what we can do as a community when we are persistent and consistent, you know what I mean, and doing things. And I wanted to just, give that shout out because things are happening in town. Things are, we're now that ambulance problem, you know what I mean? That's still there. Okay.
Yeah,
still there. And I'm speaking to that's still there. We need to, consistently stay on that because not having an ambulance inside the town of Andrews there's no way to quantify how many lives have been lost because of the time that, you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother thing.
Right. Yeah. So to your point, and
you were saying that they got that property cleared for
yeah, it's complete. Last week we met with them.
A little crosstalk.
Okay, yeah. Last week we met with them with the site superintendent, and they kind of laid out the process and what they'll be doing, and they want to be great partners of the community, obviously. And first step of that is making sure that the leadership and the citizens understand what's going to happen. I was very pleasantly surprised that this is not a 12 to 18 month project, and so they expect to have this thing up in operation in the fall. So that's encouraging. So yes, so that's happening right now. So it's all cleared out. I went by the other day again just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. But yes, Tractor Supply is well on its way to be built here in the city, in the town. But again, I want to caveat what you said earlier about the effort, the team effort to get that light up, because we had a lot of resistance, didn't have a lot of data. I was told, at the state level to justify putting a light there, but don't understand why that is. A lot of it is from traffic accidents reported and recorded and kind of managed by the Department of Environmental Services, or the ODHEC. And allegedly it wasn't there. But again, through the persistence of local government, but especially the citizens, and a special shout out to Mr. Greg Bennett, who got on the ground, got petitions signed. That was very helpful in carrying our message to the leadership at the state level. Others from Williamsburg County and Georgetown County who submitted letters of support for this thing. And so when you got all of these elements coming together for the life and safety of people, man, it would be amazing what you can accomplish. And so it was certainly a team effort. It took a lot longer than we wanted to, but that's how it shakes out sometime. But it's here, and prayerfully it's doing its job. Okay. And so again, appreciate that, but we're going to need that effort whether it's this brownfield program or anything else we go at that's going to benefit the citizens and our guests who come here to the town of Andrews. So appreciate that, and again, appreciate this platform for helping us get that message out.
That's what we do over here, you know. Got to do something. So, yeah, something else I wanted to bring up, man. Oh, let's see that. Nah, but just to this is what I was wondering. Is there an effort? Do those ladies have? Are they targeting commercial properties as far as? Is there a way to get in contact with the landowners? Because some of the people may not live, that own the property may not live here. And I was wondering if, so you don't.
And I think that's some of the, Miss Payton, I think that's a part of her driving around, identifying the property, going back to the assessors, finding that information and reaching out to them through that. And if they can't, of course, they'll come to us and other people that may know where the property owner is. But it seems like for the ones, we're very fortunate, again, with this limited amount of money, and $500,000 in sounds like a lot of money, but when this kind of program, it gets absorbed real quick. And so for us to have 3 projects in this first turn is it's saying that people are involved. People are involved, and people are reaching out.
From what I'm hearing her say, like the 500,000 is just, for lack of a better term, that's just to kind of see what's going on in the area. You know what I mean? If just kind of put it out there, and if this area is ripe and you got great citizen participation, then there's more money available to come in.
Yes, because you're showing that need, that unmet need, and the demand and the desire of the people to get these properties cleaned up. And again, this is funds to assist up front. That would cost you a lot, because anything with abatement and doing assessments, anything environmental is very expensive. And so then when you can get some help like what this program will bring, is an added cut a lot of the work out from the property owners.
And the people need to, I don't want people to get spooked. Oh, the EPA lady was out there looking at the property. You know what I mean? Like she said, they're not there they're not there to punish it.
Right.
I mean, this is if anything, this is your chance to come, you know what I mean? If you know you got a problem or issue on your property, this is that chance to get that cleaned up for, essentially for free.
Absolutely. So that's where it is, and I appreciate them. I don't, and we'll be back, because this is the best place to have these conversations and to get the word out. So appreciate that.
No doubt, man. So listen, that's about all I got right there. I really enjoyed it. Everybody that is in here, thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for participating. If you know somebody that owns a commercial property that could be contaminated, again, she went real engineering on me, you know what I mean? But you call her. And again, that website is go to the county's website. I got a link in the chat. So you can just click on that, or just go over to Georgetown County website, or Google EPA Brownfield Assessment Georgetown, and you should be able to get this information that you need to get it to whoever it needs to get it. Let me share this up here one more time. But yeah, this is the site right here, Georgetown County website. And there it is right there. EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant. So with that, man, I don't have anything else. Anything else coming up? Looking forward to football season. I seen my boys was at some preseason camps earlier this year. I mean, this past week I saw old AJ Lee and old Big Riley Jordan was at a coach's clinic or coach's camp or something like that.
Hey, this is the year. I think we've seen progress with this core of ball players, athletes, student athletes, and as they develop, these guys are seniors of rising seniors for this season. You saw how well they played, as sophomores, some even as freshmen. Like Dutch. What we're watching Dutch now as a freshman, he did very well. And so to now see these guys at the pinnacle of their high school career and to get out here and perform, we're looking for some great things out of these young men. And shout out to the parents who's been shopping these guys around, and everybody who's been involved trying to get these guys, get these student athletes, some recognition with hopes of them.
Yeah, man, that's big right there. That's a big part of, folks have been listening and they've been getting these boys up out of here. They've been getting these boys to where they need to be. So again, shout out to the parents for doing what you need to do by your son. Because I
don't think we give him enough credit. Because anything is going to come back, just like where you sit, something go around there, it's going to be on you. Same thing here, and the same thing for parents at home. You're going to take a lot of hits for what your children do. Not, and probably rightfully so, but then we also need to be recognized when our parents are heavily involved, not just waving a hand to get them through, but these parents are deeply involved in the kids, and not just sports. I want people to know these guys are these are smart young men out here, and so very proud of them. I'm looking forward to it, man. So got to get the voice right. Be ready to get back up there and call those games, and looking forward to seeing them in picture. Is what you provide, obviously, and then those Saturday morning shows where we get to talk to them after the game is always an exciting time. So football homecoming is the 3rd of October. Yeah, that's already been put out there, and followed right by the festival, the Andrews Heritage Festival, which is the 4th, that Saturday. So a lot of fun times coming up. Looking forward to it. Now we won't talk about it tonight, but this whole trail ride thing is really very popular. So where we thought we had, I know we had a burst of events in town, but now these things are bringing people from all over the place. So we'll be talking to all of these event planners to ensure that we have the right security and all those things out there to make sure it's all safe, because you start talking, 1,500 people showing up. Thinking like in the Florence trail rides, you're talking 7,000 people, and that will overwhelm a small town. So we got to talk about how we best do that, because this thing it's big and they show up. So I'm all for a good time, but we want to make sure we do it safe. Yep. So far we haven't had any issues. But a lot to look forward here in coming as we work through leading up to spring, summer, and into the fall seasons.
No doubt, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's all I got for you guys to say. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yep. I got to upgrade my internet. I got to.
Yeah, you got some. Yeah, you got some
lagging a little bit tonight, and it's been on me. So.
Yes, sir.
Got some upgrading to do. We'll be there. We'll get it done. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share this out. Great information. That's what we do over here at Andrews the Podcast. I heard my man Newton, not Raymond. What's the guy? The Newton guy that be over here listening sometimes.
Richard.
Waiters, I think that's his name.
No, Richard.
But yeah, Richard, there you go, my bad. Yeah, Richard was telling them, hey, listen, if y'all want some real answers, come on over there to the podcast. You can get some stuff done over there. You damn right, Richard.
Hey, I want to send you this.
I agree with you, sir. Anyway, man, y'all have a good night.
I think we'll
see you guys next Tuesday. Okay, send that to me.
And the information on the construction. Just dropped it on there.
All right, let's see here. Let's see how fast we can get this up here. Fast. Now I'm gonna put it on my Facebook page there. Well, I'm gonna put it on here so I can give me a second here. See how fast we work here. The old Googler. Come on. All right, there we go. Back. Search. There. Boom, boom, boom. Enter studio.
We'll also post it.
We'll also post it. We'll also post it. We'll also post it. We'll also post it.
That was interesting. Okay, seems like you just got an updated one from the administrator.
I think I did.
Yeah, use that.
While I'm here. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Do. Normally, this will happen a lot faster. I don't know what's going on there. Moving slow right here today. All right, go in the inbox. Where you at? All right. There we go. Boom. There we go. Boom. Gotcha, the right one. All right, let's get back over here. Right there. All right, let's go. Gallery. There it is. Boom. Boom. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I'm in the wrong place. That's why. That's why that didn't load. Yeah, your girl Jasmine has been acting up again. I got to get off and do a whole. Yeah, she
Cynthia McCormick in the house tonight. That's Cynthia's, that's Cynthia's new BFS now. Don't talk bad about Jasmine. I say Jasmine, that's my daughter's.
Oh, Jasmine's about to get it, yeah. Yeah, Jasmine Crockett about to get it. She going too far.
Hey, Cory Booker was up there for 25 hours up there.
What, it was filibuster or something?
Nah, it was they didn't call it filibuster, but he was talking to the people. And I think they're trying to get the party energized, but I'll get more. We'll talk about that next week.
They got to come hire me. Yeah, they got to hire me. I'm the solution for the Democratic Party. If you're trying to win another election moving forward, you better holler at the kid.
All right.
The upcoming construction work for the town of Andrews sewer lines on South Morgan will undergo full replacement starting this month, April 2025. This process will start at the street and will conclude at the intersection of Elmwood Street. The contractor will address the project one block at a time. Most of South Morgan will be closed during this project. The project will take approximately 45 days, depending on weather. And you got to keep in mind, this is April, so we're going to have some rainouts. Depending on the weather and other variables, afterwards the project will be afterwards the project area will be repaved. All right, patrons of businesses and residents can access streets to get locations on South Morgan. Come on, y'all. It's Andrews, all right? It's Andrews, I promise you. You ain't get lost. You won't get lost. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, Jasmine about to get it, and I'm about to do a whole video on her. She just wrong. She's just wrong for what she did this last thing, when she came at the dude. You know, but I guess she's saying she got to get her name out there politically. So,
all right, now you know who famous for.
But anyway,
who's famous for mocking disabled people, right?
Well, see, that's the problem. They trying to. They can't.
you know, someone there's precedence in folks mocking disabled people. Which is not cool in any case, regardless of who you are. I got
you, and that's what I'm saying. So, if it's not cool in his case, like, why are they thinking that this is the path forward for them? Like, oh, well, that's what they like. No, you know,
she said
not necessarily.
She said she wasn't. You know, I don't know. She said she wasn't mocking his disability.
No, I don't
know.
The whole thing about the little Hot Wheels thing, that was insensitive. That was insensitive. But what she said about this other guy, when she said he was whitewashed, you know what I mean, because he was married to that white woman, that's what she went a little too far right there. Because she went way too far, and it makes her look like a hypocrite, because you better look at some of the people in your party. And I mean, you can't start doing that if you're not going to be fair across the board. You know, if you're going to be a jerk, just be a jerk across the board.
Yeah, that's none of that's cool. That's what's happening. That's not okay. That's not a winning strategy for anybody.
Yeah, she went on the Breakfast Club, and them nuts and them retards. Nobody pushed back on her. Like, again, she could say what she want to say, but see, the journalist's job is to push back and to, you know, right then. Don't just let this person just say things and, you know, without taking them to task on, you know, some of that stuff. But yeah, but anyway, y'all ladies, y'all want to hear some more about Jasmine Crockett, I got the whole story. I'm gonna be doing it in a little bit. You probably won't like it, but you're gonna watch. That's just how
we're gonna keep this segment
anyway,
right
y'all
here.
Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm about to get into the street section over here, so Jasmine about to get it. But anyway, Mayor, it's good show, man.
Yeah, brother.
Ladies from Georgetown County and from the Brownfield Assessment Grant. I do appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
We
Okay.
out, yeah.
We'll talk.